Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen and distinguished guests, my name is Kafuko Zachariah. I am the director for one of the suicide organizations that have been working with the mRNA Tech Transfer Program, I think as way back as 2021. Our organization focuses on trying to promote access, equitable access to life-saving interventions, which means trying to accelerate the development chain and also accelerate initiatives aimed at increasing access to these medical countermeasures. And this program is one that is very close to our heart as an organization and one that we're very proud to continue to be a part of and to support in any way we can. With that being said, I think I'm very delighted as a singular honor for me to be able to invite you to this very, very auspicious occasion and also to invite you to these discussions that are going to take place today. I'm going to be moderating and co-moderating this session with the mighty Gelis, whom you're going to hear from in a couple of minutes. But it's also, I think, a very fitting symbol, in the manner of speaking, that we gather here at the Origin Center. I think this place symbolizes in many ways a place that celebrates Africa as the birthplace of humanity and innovation. Tonight, we also celebrate Africa's leadership through the mRNA Tech Transfer Program. And while we're doing that, we also highlight and appreciate the value as well as the hope that the mRNA Tech Transfer Program presents to the billions of lives and people and families that live in the LMIC regions. So it is indeed a very, very great event to be part of, and I want to thank you sincerely for being part of this very important health equity initiative. So thank you, and a big round of applause to everybody who's here today.
So good evening, everyone, and it's been a real honor to organize this event here at WITS, because right here at this university, expertise in mRNA was already well established under Professor Patrick Arbuthnot, who's with us, and his team, who's also with him, when the program began in 2021. So these WITS scientists played a vital role working with Afrigen to share the knowledge and build the skills needed to produce an mRNA vaccine here on the African continent. So from origins to innovation, this collaboration reflects the program's vision: science for Africa and for the world. And with that, I'm actually going to hand over to Dr. Tammy Hodges, who's the acting head of the Origin Center, to welcome us to this wonderful location and to explain to us a little bit about this building. So Tammy, please.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to have you all here at Origin Center. I hope that during your evening that you do get to explore the museum a little bit, get to walk around. It is a little bit of a maze, so if you do get lost as you're walking around, don't worry. There is a lot to explore, but I do see the museum as this space, exactly as you said, that celebrates the origins of human creativity and innovation. And before I'm going to explain these beautiful embroideries that we have up here, but just to get some housework and out the way, and logistics, just so that you know, we have bathrooms over there and upstairs, and then to get out as well is the same way that you came back in. There will be people to direct you, but yeah, just do explore the museum. And these beautiful tapestries show the history, they illustrate the history of the San hunter-gatherers in South Africa. So the museum celebrates the indigenous knowledge and the beginnings of humanity right here in Africa. And these are actually the original embroideries. A lot of people think they're screens or projections. They're actually the original embroideries that were made by 80 craftswomen from around southern Africa. And they show the history of the San And so starting this panel over here, you can see it's got a lot of the panels have glass beads, ostrich eggshell beads, safety pins. There's a lot of different things in these panels showing the origins of people, so the beginnings of where we came from. It draws a lot from the rock art that we celebrate in the museum, this closeness with nature, indigenous knowledge, and the use of plants for medicines, which is a huge, an amazing contribution to our understanding of the environment here. And cosmologies, looking at the panel there in the corner, is looking at the trance dance, which was an important part of healing, and this connection with different spiritualities. And then the middle 5 panels show this interaction with people. We've had a complex history here in Southern Africa, and a lot of different people, and a lot of different wonderful influences in terms of rock art and creativity and ways of life. And then the last 3 panels are looking at modern life, industrialization, also the effect of HIV on a lot of the descendant sound communities around Southern Africa. But the final panel envisages this future where we can all live together with each other and with nature as well. So to live very closely in this Southern Africa, where we have such diversity, but to celebrate that. So I'm looking forward to listening to these conversations where we are appreciating these knowledges from around the world in this African space, and I'd like to welcome you all to Origins.
Thank you so much, Tammy, for those wonderful words and for welcoming us here to the Origin Center. So I think every time people gather around health topics, one thing becomes very clear: the World Health Organization, right? And I think we would be starting this event wrong if we didn't hear from the Director General of the World Health Organization.
Excellencies, dear colleagues and friends, the COVID-19 pandemic was a vivid demonstration that production of vaccines and other life-saving tools is concentrated in very few countries. The WHO mRNA technology transfer program was created to address that gap, and it's now delivering on its promise to build capabilities in low and middle-income countries. We're grateful to the funders whose support makes this possible: South Africa, Belgium, Canada, France, Germany, and the European Commission. We must now focus on strengthening the full value chain, not only manufacturing, but also research and development, regulatory systems, market shaping, and workforce training. We must also diversify the pipeline beyond vaccines to include mRNA therapeutics and other products that serve the many health needs of communities. At the same time, it's important to correct disinformation about this powerful new technology. Countries must not only collaborate in development, but also commit to using locally produced mRNA-based products, integrating them into national health systems, and supporting the innovation ecosystems that surround them. Sustainability requires shared investment, especially from the countries that stand to benefit the most. As new products reach the market, they will generate revenue, incentivize continued production, and ensure readiness for future surges in demand. As you know, the pandemic agreement, which the World Health Assembly adopted last month, also includes legally binding commitments to strengthen local production. We must now translate those commitments into capacity on the ground so that when the next pandemic strikes, we meet it more equitably and more effectively. I thank you.
Thank you so much for those wonderful words from Dr. Tedros Ghebreyesus, the Director General from the World Health Organization. And indeed, if all of us just take a very brief second and let's imagine what life was like during the COVID-19 pandemic, just for a second, I think it would help us to imagine and appreciate what potential this program has in terms of some of the points that Dr. Tedros has raised. Issues around decentralizing manufacturing, decentralizing access. And I think these are some of the core tenets of the principles of this program. I think we all should be very proud to be contributing to reshaping the global public health landscape. So thank you once again to Dr. Tedros. Galis?
So now we turn to the first part of our program and to our funders and supporters who have been by our side every step of the way. And it has to be said that it's been impressive how Belgium, France, Canada, Germany, the European Union, Norway, and the Alma Foundation have been with us at these events, and you're here today, supporting us as we move forward. And if you think of this program and how we set it off with just a mere 127 million, which is nothing compared to what other initiatives costs, and how far we have come with that, I think we can certainly, I would very much like to even start, before we give you a word, actually thank you from all of us here. So just a round of applause to our funders. And so to set the scene and begin, we'll have a message from His Excellency Maxime Prévost, who's the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs, European Affairs and Development Corporation of Belgium.
Good evening, Excellencies and colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. It's really an honor to speak with you today. First, I would like to thank the organizers for the important event and also want to congratulate the government of South Africa for its leadership in this G20 presidency. South Africa is focused on health equity, solidarity, and universal access to healthcare is truly commendable, and Belgium fully supports this agenda. Belgium believes that global health is a global public good. We know that working together brings collective benefits. We can only tackle new health threats if we cooperate. That's why Belgium is committed to fair and equal access to healthcare. This is a key part of our international health work. It includes supporting local vaccine production in Africa, and especially through our multilateral efforts and the Team Europe initiative on MEV+. Affordable and accessible health services don't just improve well-being, they are also the best way to fight against new threats. We need long-term solutions for fair access. That's why Belgium is a proud supporter of the mRNA technology transfer hub in Cape Town through the WHO's Access to Medicines program. We applaud the government of South Africa, BioVac, Afrigen, the South African Medical Research Council, the MPP, the WHO, and all other partners for their outstanding work. We are also proud of the collaboration between the hub and Belgian biotech companies. The mRNA hub in Cape Town is a great example of how sharing technology can build local research and manufacturing. This is key to producing new health innovations worldwide and making sure everyone can benefit. It's also crucial for pandemic preparedness, prevention, and strengthening national health systems. Let me finish with this message. Belgium is a committed partner of the mRNA hub, its partners, and its mission. We stand by global health cooperation, and I wish you all a wonderful evening with many valuable discussions on global health. Thank you.
Indeed, global health is a global public good. So thank you so much to His Excellency for the message. that has been delivered. So at this point, we are going to be turning our attention into the room, as it were. So we are going to be asking some of our very distinguished guests who are here with us today in this room to also share with us their remarks. So first on my list is His Excellency, Mr. James Christophe, the High Commissioner for Canada in South Africa.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. A real pleasure to be here with you this evening. I'd like to thank the government of South Africa for hosting us during the G20 Health Group meeting. And big thanks as well to Medicine's Patent Pool, the World Health Organization, AfriGen, and the South African Medical Research Council for organizing the many timely discussions that have gone on. We are now a few years past the COVID-19 pandemic that reminded us of the critical importance of pandemic prevention, preparedness, and response. Many of you here this evening have been working tirelessly to apply these lessons to be better prepared for the future. As we continue these discussions, we must all stand firm in our commitment to strengthen pandemic prevention, preparedness, and response. This includes facilitating equitable access to vaccines, testing, and treatments through capacity-building programs like the mRNA Technology Transfer Program. The program is already achieving notable impact. It's on track to establish 11 good manufacturing practices or GMP-certified facilities across 10 countries by 2030. This contributes to global efforts to diversify manufacturing capacity and in turn helps set countries up to improve access to health products and prepare ahead of a next pandemic. The program also contributes to improving countries' resilience through science, innovation, and partnership. It is commendable that the program aims to build enough capacity to produce 60 million doses annually, scalable to 2 billion in a pandemic. This will help to strengthen global supply chains, of course, and manufacture health product closer to the people that need them most. Canada is very proud to partner with the MPP and WHO as a leading donor to the mRNA Technology Transfer Program. At this critical juncture, we must focus our efforts on sustainability and scalability of production. This means supporting the research and development consortia and continuing to develop the capacity to advance technology transfer on voluntary and mutually agreed terms. The program is an excellent collaboration with MPP, the WHO, as well as the government of South Africa and many other partners and donors here tonight. I'm going to speak off script for a sec. It is a real pleasure for me to be here this evening. I've come to know this program, got to know its tangible impacts, and as I was saying to some of you earlier, I can put hand on heart and say that Canadian support is making a tangible difference. As I close my remarks, you're going to see me leave because I have to go to another event. It's King Charles' birthday is being celebrated by the British High Commission in Pretoria. The King is their king, but he's also Canada's king and is Canada's king's representative in South Africa. I will need to go there now to pay my respects there, but I want to thank everybody here for all the hard work you're doing in this area, and Canada is very, very proud to support. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And also, please do convey our best wishes to the King. Right. So next we have Dr. Thomas Moraes, Regional Councillor for Global Health, Southern Africa. Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues and friends, to complete the remarks from the representative of Belgium and Canada, let me tell you how France, as the first sovereign donor to the WHO, mRNA Tech Transfer Hub welcomes the progress made in the program implementation, which aligns completely with our global health strategy and justify our continuous efforts to support the strengthening of pandemic prevention, preparedness, and response initiatives like the mRNA Tech Transfer Hub. I would like to recall that France, since the beginning of the initiative, has supported the voluntary end-to-end technology transfer and stressed the importance of better funding of research and development and clinical trials to do so in preparation of the next pandemic. We welcome the continued political commitment of African partners in the recent years, in particular the regional organizations such as the Africa CDC, which has developed since the beginning of the pandemic several tools to support regional production and pool procurement mechanisms to enhance the autonomy of the continent. We also welcome the strong political commitment at the national levels, as it is the case in South Africa, in Senegal, in Nigeria, and other countries, with the adoption of regional preference criteria for the purchase of health products that are manufactured at the regional level. France would like also to recall the importance of continuing to finance the global health initiatives and to strengthen the partnerships between international organizations and initiatives in the spirit of the Lusaka agenda. It includes opportunities for cooperation with Team Europe initiatives in health, like the Team Europe initiatives, MAF+, you all know about, but also the G20 Alliance on Regional Production for Neglected Disease that has been launched on the sidelines of the World Health Assembly recently under the Brazilian leadership. The WHO Technology Transfer Program offers a privileged framework for action to encourage cooperation between the various partners located on several continents, and we recognize this strongly. It highlights the opportunities for South-South cooperation in technology transfer and clinical trials that we support for a long time. I would like to finish my intervention to stress the need to continue the mission beyond the first phase of the WHO mRNA Technology Transfer Project. And for that, we call for a broadening of the donor base and for greater involvement of middle-income countries in financing and supporting these regional initiatives. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup, monsieur. You're very kind. You're très gentil. And that's what the French I know. All right, so I think the message has been very clear around continued support beyond this initial phase, because we need to get to a point of sustainability by ensuring that the ecosystem where these facilities exist are able to continue beyond where the donor aid is going to eventually stop. I think that's a very powerful message. Thank you so much. At this point, I would like to call Ms. Ulla Lehmann-Richter, the Deputy Head of Cooperation from the Embassy of Germany.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it's a privilege to have been invited to participate in this side event under the G20 and at this wonderful place. I am very pleased to have the opportunity today to speak to you as representative of the German government on such a significant topic. The COVID-19 pandemic was a stark call of how critical health sovereignty through regional innovation ecosystems is, not just for one country, but for global health security. Biotechnology is more than a field of science. It is a powerful tool for resilience, equity, and economic development. Since 2021, the German government has been one of the partner countries sharing the vision of the mRNA hub and supporting it. Germany contributes around 790 million euro to the African Union's goal of producing 60% of the vaccines needed in Africa by 2040, through initiatives like the Global Gateway and the Team Europe initiative MAF+. South Africa is a key partner in this effort, with world-class scientists, a vibrant innovation landscape, and strong regulator. Afrigen, BioVac, and Semruc are perfect examples of the South African scientific excellence and entrepreneurship skills. Germany's approach to local manufacturing is an ecosystem approach, and our support to the mRNA hub has therefore both direct and indirect. Directly, Germany contributed with 5.3 million euros, and indirectly, Germany supports through bilateral programs by GIZ and KfW, and together with SDTI, the areas of skill development, R&D capacities, regulation, governance, and market shaping, which will have a positive impact and scale up the results of the mRNA hub. In addition, we support Afrigen with the equipment through a program by KfW and through concrete innovation projects by GIZ on RSV and Mpox, and through the deployment of a senior immunologist. We also work hand in hand with BioVac and strengthen their regulatory and commercial capabilities. At multilateral level, Germany is the first donor of Gavi's African Vaccine Manufacturing Accelerator with a $300 million contribution. Let me extend my heartfelt congratulations to the organizers of the side event. You have created an important platform that not only showcases the tremendous progress of the mRNA technology transfer program, but also reminds us of what is possible when science, solidarity, and sovereignty come together. This gathering reaffirms the collective will to work towards health equity. To the organizers and partners, thank you for your leadership, your foresight, and your dedication. Your work is laying the foundation for a healthier, more equitable, and more resilient world. Let us build on this momentum and move forward together. Thank you very much for your attention, and thank you very much again for this invitation.
Thank you very much for those words. Indeed, a healthier world, a more equitable world is a more resilient world. Thank you so much for those words. We're going to wrap up this session with another set of remarks. These ones are going to be given by Ms. Funda Silike Esse from the EU delegation to South Africa, the International Cooperation Officer. And please forgive me if I butchered your name. I'm so sorry.
That's perfect. And thanks God I'm wearing high heels today, so I can use the mic. Excellencies, distinguished guests, colleagues and friends, a very warm welcome on a chilly evening in Johannesburg. Thank you very much indeed for mRNA Technology Transfer Program partners for setting up this brilliant side event at the margins of G20 meetings. And it is always a great honor, also a privilege to take floor as last in the Team Europe family, because of course many of the things I wanted to say is already mentioned by my colleagues from Belgium, France, and Germany. Indeed, Team Europe and European Commission that I represent today, we have been supporting from the beginning of COVID-19 pandemic the capacity development for local manufacturing and enhancing the access for African countries in Africa. It has been a very fast but successful journey so far. Only within 4 years, as Team Europe, we have managed to raise over 2 billion euro, I guess over 80 billion rands, if my maths doesn't fail me, to support African Union's target to produce 60% of vaccines and therapeutics for Africa in Africa by 2040. And we are not yet done, and there is more to come. And indeed, we have heard also in several sessions last 3 days at G20 Health Working Group that the mRNA Technology Transfer Hub program has been an excellent, good practice for the whole world to show if we collaborate internationally and enhance collaboration South-South, we achieve a lot in terms of local production, economic resilience, pandemic preparedness, as well as global solidarity and fairness. And we certainly thank all partners involved in that journey so far. Actually, our support to this very specific program was very natural from the beginning because indeed it ticked all our priorities under Global Gateway Strategy, where one pillar is to support health pharmaceutical value chains, to strengthen them for African continent. And our actual Team Europe support has been over 120 million euros, but the spillover support has been more. We have been also supporting BioVac, who is not only the first spoke of WMRNA hub, but also a very well-known actor in local production for Africa. And we are at the moment also looking into supporting further all these innovative biotechnology startups in South Africa and in Africa through flexible financing mechanisms, which also came out quite strong last 3 days at the sessions. So with that positive note, once more, I thank you a lot for inviting us and congratulate once more the whole team, both for this event and for a very successful program. And we look forward to the, what's to come next. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and thank you all of you. It's very humbling to hear your words and, you know, to hear how you're acknowledging the work of the program, because yes, we do work very hard. All the partners here work very hard, and it's so nice to see how far we've come, and that's exactly what we're going to morph into now. Now, the High Commissioner, in his haste, walked off with somebody's phone. So if you're missing your telephone, it's right here. So I'll hand that back. So we now move on, as I say, to the next part of our program, and to tell a little bit of this story from the voices here at these tables. So let's hear about the story so far. So in this segment, as I say, they will reflect. So over to you.
Thank you, Kalisa. So the first in the storytelling is Dr. Claudia Nanye from the WHO, Senior Program Manager, and we just want to find out, why was this program set up?
Thank you, Zach, and I'll give you 5 main reasons. The first one is because during the COVID-19 pandemic, LMICs were left behind. Indeed, vaccine existed, but were inaccessible. So manufacturing was concentrated and supply was dominated by high-income countries. The second one is because vaccine equity cannot depend on charity or last-minute deals. We needed a structural solution, not donation, but a solution that builds sustainable manufacturing capacity in LMICs, guided and aligned with regional priorities. The third one is because the mRNA technology is the most versatile and scalable platform. So it can be adapted to other pathogens, making it ideal for addressing pandemics, but also other diseases. The fourth one is because a multilateral model, like the mRNA technology transfer model, builds on long-term impact. The program connects innovation centers, regional manufacturers, and we will hear from them in a minute, global experts, and they all share know-how, they share technology, and they build on a strong base for product development and diversification. And finally, because it's not a one-time fix, this is a future-proof system that wants to embed regional leadership. We activate strong coordination. We promote, nurture, and harness innovation. And it lays the foundation for self-reliance, for resilience, and for regional health security, well beyond the next health emergency.
Thank you very much, Claudia. And now let me turn to Dr. Ike James, who's the Director of Technology Transfer at NPP. You and your team have been working hard, so tell us, what have you achieved?
Thanks, Jalise. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The Technology Transfer Program has definitely achieved some achievements that we can recognize tonight. If you look at, through the South African consortium, the establishment and demonstration of technology development and transfer to a network of manufacturing partners. We also recognize the development of a mRNA technology from scratch that has now showed safety, immunogenicity, and efficacy comparable to commercial mRNA COVID vaccine. So these are some of the highlights. We also recognize that technology transfer initiatives are in progress with several of the manufacturing partners. We're looking at the R&D network that has been established, really looking at building product pipeline, targeting diseases that are regionally relevant. We also look at the strengthening of the regulatory aspects, where we have an initiative that is focusing on strengthening the regulatory aspects, and then we have finally the training, the biomanufacturing training hub in Korea that is looking at seeing how we can strengthen the skills, the GMP skills, the biomanufacturing skills of all the manufacturing partners. So those are the highlights, Jalise, that we can demonstrate now. But I think we'll hear a lot more from our partners during the course of this evening.
Thank you, Ike. So I think when we think about this program, Afrigen, I think for many of us who've been not looking at this program, consider Afrigen as the parent or the mothership of this mRNA tech transfer program. So we're going to hear from Professor Pedro Teblaish. Please tell us, what is Afrigen's work in the tech transfer program?
Zach, thank you, and let me first acknowledge and thank all our partners, funders, technical partners, and colleagues in the room. Technology transfer is a process of access. But technology transfer cannot happen in a vacuum. Technology transfer needs technology development. And technology development originates in the scientific excellence of laboratory research. And at this point, I want to give recognition to the WITS team, Patrick, Abdullah, and Christy. Could you please stand up for an applause from this audience? Without the origins and supporting laboratory and discovery research, we will not have technology development and not technology transfer. But technology transfer is empty without partners that's prepared and ready to receive the technology, to translate the technology in processes and products that's not only for pandemic preparedness and pandemic response, but for public health purposes. To our partners, the 15 partners, thank you for trusting Afrigen that we will give you technology that has a quest for safety and efficacy and affordability. And thank you for working tirelessly in this program to be ready to receive this technology. But technology transfer is not the end. For us, it's a means to an end. And without developing a pipeline of products that can be transferred in a sustainable system and received by 15 partners in low middle income countries and translate that into products that makes a difference into public health, we will not meet the objectives of this program. To our partners, technical funders, support us to develop these pipelines, support us to develop vaccines for neglected diseases, support us to embed mRNA as a means to therapeutics that brings solutions to health. Thank you very much for supporting us, all the partners in this room. Thank you, Zach.
Thank you. Oops, don't need that. Thank you, Petro. So now I'm turning to the program partners, and I would like to invite Morena to come and stand beside me as I have a question for you. So, Morena, what are you going to do with mRNA technology?
It's a very challenging question, Jaleese, but also just to say thank you for the invitation, the WHO, MPP, the South African government, but also to our funders who have really stayed the course. I just wanted to compliment everybody else that has spoken before me. First and foremost, I would like to say that, as a first tech transfer partner, we have certainly validated what Afrigen has done. So we can certainly say that what Afrigen is doing is not only coming from Afrigen's mouth, but we have also demonstrated scientifically that the work that they have done is transferable and it can be upscaled. So we're certainly the first to say so as the first tech transfer partner. The second thing that this program has done, particularly to BioVac, is that it's been a catalyst. And really that word is really important to us. It's been a catalyst because we've been able to even raise external funding for new R&D labs, part of which will be dedicated to mRNA technology. Without this program that we're sitting today, we would not have been able to access that particular funding. And if anybody is in Cape Town in August, we're hoping to open those R&D labs that can really show, and this would be showing that this program was a real catalyst towards us being able to access those funding and dedicated R&D labs for mRNA. Lastly, as we're putting everything together, we'll be looking at quite a few vaccines. We're looking at outbreak vaccines that will deal with pandemics. We're looking at possible vaccines that will go for maternal use, and even the routine vaccines, we're looking at it. So we're still combing the landscape, but hopefully in a year's time, I'll be able to come with a lot more specifics after we've opened our lab.
Wonderful, can't wait to see it.
Thank you so much, Morena. And I have been to your labs, and you are not wrong when you say there's actually translation of the technology, and I've seen it firsthand. So keep up the good work. But, BioVac is not the only partner. We have, several other partners from around the world. Some of them could not make it in person today, but we should take a moment and, listen to them.
At Biogeneric Pharma BGB, we are proud to be part of the global messenger RNA initiative site in Egypt. As messenger RNA technology is opening doors in vaccine development and disease prevention. So being part of messenger RNA program empowers us to strengthen local production, build regional resilience, and respond faster to future health challenges. Finally, with messenger RNA, we are not just preparing for the next pandemic, we are shaping the future of healthcare in Africa.
Warm greetings from Tunisia. I'm pleased to represent the Institut Pasteur de Tunis, who joined the WHO NPP mRNA Tech Transfer Program in 2022. So, what are we doing with this technology? First, we are building capacity with support from the Tech Transfer Program, and we are establishing a dedicated mRNA R&D facility and training scientists in cutting-edge techniques. Second, we are advancing R&D by co-developing mRNA vaccines with private companies for leishmaniasis and rabies, and collaborating with mRNA tech transfer partners such as Afrigen in South Africa and Ficus from Brazil on vaccine candidates for tuberculosis and leishmaniasis. Third, we are willing to enable technology transfer by sharing expertise with LMC partners to promote sustainable and decentralized innovation ecosystem. At APT, we are committed to turning scientific progress into a real impact for Tunisia, for the region, and for global health.
My name is Dr. Cecilia Wanjala. I'm the CEO at Kenya Biovax Institute, a state corporation that has been established to manufacture vaccines locally. We are a member of the WHO MPP mRNA Technology Transfer Program. This program is a big opportunity for Kenya Biovax because, one, it is versatile, it is flexible, it allows us to undertake targeted product development and be able to get products to the market in a short period. This way, we will be able to enhance our public health security, grow our economy, and also it provides access to international collaborations and opportunities for funding. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Sương. I'm Vice Director Polivac. We are focusing on R&D of the COVID-19 vaccine, aiming to master mRNA technology. After that, we plan to apply the mRNA technology for developing other vaccines needed in Vietnam, such as hand, foot, and mouth disease, dengue, and HPV vaccine. We strongly believe that mastering mRNA technology will strengthen Vietnam's capacity for vaccine self-sufficiency, enhance our ability to respond proactively to future epidemics, and contribute meaningfully to the global effort for vaccine equality. Thank you.
Greeting from Pakistan. I am Rahim Shah from National Institute of Health Islamabad and leading mRNA Technology Transfer Program. I am pleased to share my viewpoints on this program. This program is a game changer for Pakistan, and we will be able to contribute globally in healthcare through this program. As the head of this program, I am sure that we can do research and development, produce life-saving vaccines and treatment indigenously, and collaborate with the global partners. We will utilize this technology to save lives, improve health outcomes, and build a healthier Pakistan for generations to come. I am grateful to MPP and WHO by facilitating this technology transfer to LMICs and empowering Pakistan to play its role in health.
Being part of the WHO initiative has led Fiocruz and Brazil to a leadership position in the mRNA platform in Latin America. In these 3 years, we have developed our own platform, and now we intend to advance very quickly in the development of new products for neglected disease and cancer, fulfilling our mission of promoting equitable access to these products in our region.
Hello, everyone. We are happy to share our feelings about mRNA Technology Transfer Program at Incepta Pharmaceuticals. We have been receiving technology from WHO on the development of mRNA technology. We have established required laboratory and in the process of establishing a GMP manufacturing facility or manufacture of complete mRNA vaccine. This has given us tremendous amount of confidence that at the time of need or any pandemic, we would be able to deliver the vaccine or therapeutics coming out of mRNA technology. We are also discussing with other partners like in Thailand for HPV and with South Africa for RSV and also other potential contributors with whom we can develop or receive technology. Hope that we'll be working together and we'll be able to make this particular platform eventually leading to development of many successful therapies and vaccines should be a solution to humanity. Thank you.
The future of medicine is here, and it's powered by mRNA technology. At the Torlak Institute in Serbia, we are embracing this future, not only as a scientist, but as a guardian of public health. Through the mRNA Technology Transfer Program, we are building the local capacity to produce high-quality, life-saving vaccines faster, safer, and more precisely than ever before. But we are not stopping there. Our vision is to extend mRNA applications beyond COVID-19 to tackle endemic diseases, cancers, and the new threats yet to come. For us, mRNA is strategic investment. It's a science with a purpose, sovereignty through knowledge. With the support of WHO,
NPP, and other global partners. Serbia stands ready not only to receive technology, but to develop it, share it, and lead with it. The future is not waiting, and neither are we.
ETEC is establishing a robust mRNA platform to develop vaccines and to set pandemic preparedness capabilities, primarily for our region of the Americas, with the potential to reach other regions too. In 2025, we will complete the technology transfer and initiate scaling up to a capacity of 1 liter of IVT. And simultaneously, we are focused on developing an innovative H5N1 pandemic influenza candidate with the support from WHO, MPP, and PAHO, which provide invaluable scientific advice. Furthermore, Synertia Biotech is building this world-class RNA facility that will allow our region to have full product development and GMP manufacturing capabilities, not only to manufacture our own products, but also to receive tech transfers from other program partners. Collaborating with us and with the program is instrumental in sustaining this amazing endeavor.
Hello everyone, my name is Arisa Polia, and I'm Sinta Kusuma Danish.
And I'm Indra Rudiansya, and we are from
Bank of Harman. We are proud to be part of this groundbreaking program as we will set a sail toward equitable access and regional empowerment in vaccine manufacturing. At Bank of Harman, we see this not just a technology transfer, but a global movement to beat resilience, and we are committed to this one.
Our goal is to harness mRNA technology to strengthen pandemic preparedness and address unmet public health needs, especially in low and middle-income countries. Currently, we are developing our first mRNA vaccine candidate targeting disease-borne pathogen for interest in our regions. This initiative will not only support regional biosecurity, but also serve as a proof of concept for broader mRNA vaccine application in the future. So we are very happy and really committed to this work. All right. See you. Bye.
So I think we've done pretty well in 4 years. 4 years. 4 years ago there was nothing. And now we have all these wonderful partners throughout the world who are actually, as you can see, well advanced. But of course, they're going to need a little more help as well, and that's where research and development comes in. So I'd like now to turn to Dr. Michelle Muldner for you to ask that question. What of R&D?
Thank you, Julie's. And I think a lot of the speakers before me have already said a lot of what I was going to say about the importance of R&D as part of this program. But I want to reiterate that the R&D component is critical for this mRNA Tech Transfer Hub. And I just want to highlight 3 main reasons for that. The one is that we have to continue to improve. So we have to improve the mRNA candidate backbone. We need to improve the lipids. We need to improve the process because we need more effective, more cost-effective, and more stable vaccines. So there are always ways we can improve, and that can only be done with R&D. The second reason is that this is an incredible platform offering amazing opportunity for us to maximize, to address our current issues. So we have a number of issues, priority disease areas in South Africa and elsewhere that we can address through this platform. And that's what we are doing through this mRNA R&D component, particularly focusing on HIV and TB. The third reason is that we need this pipeline, and Petra mentioned it earlier. So if we are developing these new vaccines, it's not only to save lives in these other areas, but it's to provide that pipeline for these wonderful manufacturing facilities that you've seen to ensure sustainability between those pandemics. So the R&D program within South Africa is in its 4th year now. It is driven and coordinated by the MRC, but it is conducted by the wonderful scientists that you see here today, including Charles here and a number who are not here. But really world-leading science that is being conducted. We have some wonderful early successes to celebrate. New novel vaccine candidates, novel lipids, process improvements, and so on. So watch this space. At this point, I'd like to also thank the funders. We've heard from our European and Canadian funders, but I also want to mention the South African government, the Department of Health, who funds through the SAMRC, and the Department of Science, Technology and Innovation, and of course the Alma Vaccines and Immunization Foundation, who all together are funding this incredible program. And then just to finish off, this is just the beginning. We have some very early successes. These need to be taken through to development, and we need sustained funding for that, and we would like to expand our R&D component and look forward to engaging with the funders and with additional partners to take this program to new levels.
Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Michelle, for that. And I think we quickly turn to Robert Matiru, Director of Programs at UNITAID. The question for you, why is local manufacturing such an important aspect of this program?
Great, let me just go here so I can not have my back to anybody. So first of all, thank you to MPP, WHO, and all the partners for having UNITAID here. While we're not a funding partner of this amazing program, we're the founder of MPP and its principal funder, and we're very proud of what they've managed to do here with all of you. Local manufacturing of vaccines, medicines, diagnostics, and other critical countermeasures, as we've heard over the past few days and in fact years, is going to be absolutely critical to broader health resilience and health security. And central to that will be further progress and support to ecosystem enablers for ensuring that these technologies, for the different indications that they ultimately are going to address, can first and foremost be procured and supplied nationally through national tenders. So the right policies are going to have to be put in place by governance for local procurement. So even having it manufactured in the country isn't a given that would actually be bought in the country. Policy change also needs to happen at the regional level to enable the procurement and supply of these technologies in the continent, across countries. And that will take work at the regional economic community level, in SADC, in the Zazibona aspects, ECOWAS, EAC. Those are important policy changes for allowing that trade and export, but also that regional pooled procurement so that economies of scale can be realized to be able to supply products to countries across and within the continent and even beyond. As you saw, this is a global program. But linked to that, as we know, will be harmonization of regulatory standards, greater reliance. We reached a milestone this year with 8 regulators on this continent reaching maturity level 3 listing as per WHO, mostly for therapeutics, but in time we need to see those listings expand to vaccines and diagnostics in a companion program, and then beyond that to listings at the level 4 and then ultimately listings. And that reliance is really key. Those 8 entities signed an MOU to start with mutual recognition and reliance, which will be absolutely critical to facilitating the type of access that will be needed for products such as the mRNA products that will come out of this program. We also know another critical ecosystem enabler will be financing. So not just national financing, but opportunities to partner with development finance institutions and other partners to make sure that these programs, these companies have viable go-to-market strategies, that they can build out their CapEx abilities to manufacture at scale. But again, even there, we need to see the DFIs and partners changing some of their terms and policies so that their capital is more patient, their loans are more forgiving, and that the ticket sizes that need to be accessed by these companies are actually ones that are viable for them. So it's just to say there has been incredible progress, and as we build out the next phase of this program, these ecosystem enablers will be absolutely crucial, and political leadership will be key nationally, regionally, continentally, and globally to drive that. And it'll be important, I hope, for this type of leadership to start here on this continent, but also be realized in other regions because this is a global program. So that's just a flavor or a taste of some of the critical ecosystem enablers that where we're seeing some progress, but we know in the next 4 or 5 years we'll have to see a lot more for this whole program to realize its true promise. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. I was actually working at UNITAID when MPP was founded back in 2010, and so I actually worked in Robert's team. And so I think one thing you can say about UNITAID is the way they look at problems and they find solutions to them through the way they develop their grants. So we're very fortunate at MPP to still benefit from being very close to UNITAID, and we thank you, Robert, for your support. Now I'd like to turn to AGRE. So AGRE, you are a civil society, you work for a civil society organization. And so my question to you is, why is this program important for civil society? And I'll let you join me here to answer that question.
Thank you so much, and let me join colleagues in thanking you for the invitation to this beautiful place. And I just want to echo a lot of things that have been said by colleagues, notably by Dr. Claudia, really enumerating the challenges that, was bothering everybody at the peak of COVID, the inequalities, the inequities, the access challenges, and everybody hoping things were different. And as things started rolling by and lots of initiatives were being concocted mid-air, as we used to say, a lot of great initiatives like the COVAX, Act A, were being made as things were on motion. Everybody was wishing that we could have these inter-pandemic initiatives that could help prepare us for next possible challenges. And therefore, when the INB for Pandemic Agreement negotiation started, many of us invested our energies there. And as Pandemic Action Network, working with more than 400 partners, we were in the middle. We were always chasing negotiators in the corridors. For a long time, we were just in the cafeteria. We've been to Geneva. So most of us were not having access to the main area. We were just in the corridors. So what are they saying about access? What are they saying about equity? And many things were being said. Everybody agrees equity is important. But then the nuts and bolts that would drive process and progress towards equity was a big challenge. Like, we agree it is there, but how do we practically get to equity? And up to now, I'm sorry to say, that we're still being asked by our partners, what exactly in the pandemic agreement has the best promise to really, if somebody asked you pre-COVID and post the agreement, what is different from there? With those many nice stories about resources being available, mutually agreed terms, I can't say so much. But one thing I can say for sure, that this mRNA initiative is one definite different thing from pre-COVID and post-COVID that can really, has the real potential and is moving us towards real equity in terms of enabling the LMIC regions, including Africa, to have the capacity to innovate, to manufacture, to innovate and manufacture countermeasures that can be used locally, because our best bet to really stemming outbreaks before they become costly and deadly pandemics is having local solutions where the outbreaks occur. And with all these beautiful stories that we saw on the screen there, in different countries, in different regions, I think that is the direction that we need to go. And the adaptability of this technology, I think, is a promising thing that many of us in the civil society sector are very excited and supportive of, that we will be able to use this technology to adapt and create solutions for our endemic and emerging threats to our public health. So I want to thank the financiers and the technical team that are behind this beautiful work, that let's continue doing that way, and let's incorporate the CSOs as part of the design. Let us not just be on the periphery looking in through the window. Let us be part of the design to help create the enabling ecosystem for you politically and socially. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Agro, for that. And I think for me, you are absolutely right that globally we've had so much rhetoric on equity and words of commitment towards equity. The bolts and nuts that actually make it happen has always been the question. So as you rightly mentioned, this is, I've said this before, but I believe this is perhaps the biggest actual effort towards global equity in health. And I think everyone who's involved in this program, as a partner, as a researcher, as a funder, really you should take great pride in shaping a better world for everyone. So thank you so much for those words, Agri. Now I'm going to be turning my attention to Charles Gore, who's the Executive Director at MPP. And I know, Charles, that you've been involved in this program from its start. And I think sometimes you look back and see how many things have changed. We've seen so much development, so much progress being made by so many of the partners. I think the question to you then should be, why do you think this program should continue?
Thank you, Zach, and good evening to you all. I just would like to remind everyone that this is cutting-edge technology. This is exactly the opposite of leaving the global south behind. And we should be really happy about that. So, well, but it's true. So this program came out of the pandemic, but it is really important that it is now ready for the next pandemic. But in order for it to be ready for the next pandemic, the partners need to keep their facilities warm. And by what you need to do that is continue to produce mRNA-based products, whether they're vaccines or therapeutics. And what that will do, by investing in that, that will also allow them to become self-sustainable and therefore independent. So we need the Technology Transfer Program 2.0 in order to ensure that we have an independent, self-sustainable, pandemic-ready health sector across LMICs and particularly in Africa.
Thank you, Charles. Thank you. And now I'm turned to our last speaker in this session, and of course it's Martin Frieda. Martin, so what will the mRNA program look like in phase 2.0?
Sustainability. So before I dive into this, I'll tell a very short story. In 2006, WHO went around the world and we built pandemic influenza manufacturing factories around the world. The best one, our prime, was the Serum Institute of India. In 2010, they had a capacity to produce 200 million doses per year. In 2011, they closed that facility down. They were making lots of other money. They were making other vaccines, meningitis, pneumococcal, etc. But that facility, they were selling only a few doses per year. And so, as businessmen, they closed that facility down. And so when COVID began and we started working on this project, we chose mRNA because mRNA can make a COVID vaccine, it can make an RSV vaccine, but it can also make a lot of other things that countries need. So what is 2.0 or 2.0 going to look like? We've got some low-hanging fruits. We've got therapeutic human papillomavirus vaccine. There are going to be 1.5 billion women who have not received the prophylactic vaccine in time, who are at risk of getting cervical cancer. This vaccine is a low-hanging fruit. We can get this to approval in the next 5 years and protect these women from getting cervical cancer. We've got certain cancer vaccines. We've seen from one of our partners, we've seen women with colon cancer that were supposed to die within 2 weeks, and a year later, they're going shopping, walking to the shops. Why should treatment like this only be accessible in New York and in Geneva? Why should it not be accessible in Nigeria and in Cape Town and in Baragwanath Hospital? We've got the middle-hanging fruits. We've got TB vaccine being developed by UCT with Afrigen. We've got treatment for liver diseases, things like non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, which is rampant across Africa and causes ascites, liver cancer, and death. We know we can treat this with mRNA. And then we've got the high-hanging fruits. We've got things like sickle cell anemia. How many people in Nigeria carry the sickle cell anemia gene? How many children are born with sickle cell anemia and cannot live functional lives? All of this can be done with mRNA. But to get there, we are going to have to bring these products forwards. And this is, each of our manufacturing partners cannot do this. They are manufacturers, not researchers. So what we are doing is we are creating these consortia where we're bringing researchers together, and we've got agreements and MOUs and licenses from partners that have got some of these technologies. We've got University of Pennsylvania, Imperial College, Children's Hospital of Pennsylvania, bringing to us and saying, we will share our technology with you. But this by itself, just sharing the technology, is insufficient. We will have to have these products developed and brought through phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 approval and commercialization. So for each of these, there is a commercialization strategy which says, yes, there is a market. There's some products which have been proposed to us where we've said, look, it sounds nice, but you know what? We don't think anybody's actually going to buy that, or the procurement is going to be too low to support it. So there's commercialization. And our job is not necessarily to bring all of these things ourselves to commercialization, but to de-risk, to take these products to the point where they've gone through an early clinical trial, have been de-risked, and at that point, if they are really commercially viable, then the various private or institutional investments can take place to take them through the rest. Also, when we do one product development, it is shared across 15 or more manufacturers, whereas the normal process is each person does this by themselves and spends hundreds of millions of dollars doing it. So the mRNA 2.0 is going to be now moving from not only having developed the technology, but to be developing the products, and the products that are commercially viable. That is going to require, merci beaucoup la France, vielen Dank, Deutschland, Europe, thank you Canada. This is going to require additional funding. But this funding is now targeted to say, this is the product, this is the time that's going to take to get there, and this is the market that is going to result, and these are the lives that are going to be saved, and they're going to be saved everywhere, not just in high-income countries. I would like to finish by saying this is kind of the end of my career at WHO. I retire from WHO in a few weeks. I then will be working with many of you, not from WHO, but it's also very emotional for me. Sorry. I'm here in this place, and just there are stones. The last time I saw those stones that are in the room next door was in my grandfather's garden 55 years ago. And I got a sharp clip around the ear because I was drawing on those stones with a pencil. And I'm delighted to be here and having brought this product, this technology, this program to South Africa, and what South Africa has done to bring it to the world. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Martin, for that. And I think there are a lot of lessons from what we've heard today. I'm going to zero in just a little bit on what you've just mentioned, and not just because you're retiring in a few weeks, but obviously, thank you so much for the long service. And I think a few years from now, hopefully you'll look back at this program and say, yeah, I was part of that. I think that is something maybe we can all in this room honor you with for your dedicated long service towards health for all globally. So thank you so much, and I hope I'll be invited to your retirement party. With that being said, I think the uniqueness of this program is that while we are in these peace times, this program through these many facilities can do research on very targeted pathogens, like Martin has mentioned. Research in TB, research in cancer, research in cervical cancer, and all these very specific pathogens within the locations where these facilities are established. Now, what this does is it creates both the capacity, community acceptance, and generates government buy-in in these times. But most importantly, when we talk about pandemic preparedness, these are now facilities that are sitting on standby. Imagine how the landscape of the next pandemic is going to look like when you have 15 different sites across the LMIC region, the regions that were least in terms of access to medical countermeasures in the previous pandemic. We are talking about 15 sites that did not exist in the previous pandemic. Now, just for a moment, think about how this will reshape how we respond and the timeliness of our response to the next pandemic. I think this is something that has great potential for impact, and I think every time we think about pandemic preparedness, we should really, really think how we have actually taken significant steps in changing how the world is going to respond to the next pandemic by ensuring that we are putting facilities where access was least, where people had the worst of the burden. This decentralizes access to the life-saving vaccines. And if we truly do believe that health should be for all, then we should see significant value for this program, the mRNA Technology Transfer Program, because this program goes to where the problem is and sets up these facilities while addressing the problems that exist right now, but also strategically positions these countries and regions to respond effectively in the next pandemic. This is what promise the mRNA Tech Transfer Program holds globally, which is why I emphasize again, this is perhaps the biggest, the largest single program that is actually taking the nuts and bolts that Agre mentioned on changing what vaccine and health equity looks like for the world. So to all the speakers, to all the partners, to all the researchers, to all the funders, once again, I just want to say thank you very much on behalf of the billions of people globally who stand ready to benefit from these programs. So let's give ourselves a big and at this point, I would like to call upon Dr. Moneni Moefe, who's the Deputy Director General, the Department of Science, Technology and Innovation, South Africa. We want to hear the closing reflections from the country that has hosted the very first, the mothership, as I said earlier, of this program. The country that history will recognize as the epicenter of the beginning of vaccine equity. Please take the stage.
Thank you very much. I think that all that comes with a lot of headaches. And I'm just wondering why Professor Petro Branch still looks as beautiful and well-kept as she does, because I would have expected that her hair would have moved from being black to gray and to other things. But I just really want to start on with reflecting on the point that was made by Agre when he said, and I'm just paraphrasing, that we have usually done a lot of talking and very little doing, very little to nothing, actually. But this program has represented a completely different shift to that. It's been a game changer. A decision was taken to establish the mRNA Tech Transfer Hub. And we wondered what was going to happen. And I think that's really part of where the nervousness starts to creep in. Are we going to pull this thing off? Are we going to become the joke of the world? And are we going to really move into a space where still, you know, sometimes opportunities are availed and those people who are supposed to be recipients and beneficiaries of the opportunities may not be ready and available to take it up. And that's why I think one needs to really reflect and thank the scientists that have been involved. You've been central to this. Everybody who's been, you know, hosting and the first beneficiaries. And so it has really been that special. So moving from that to then having forged real partnerships, it was very special. And when partners come on board and you are wondering whether, again, we are in this mode of talking, and then you start to see investments. And of course, the investment starts by pledges. And you wait, and the pledges become reality. The technical support, the equipment that we wait for and we receive, it really just proves that we all appreciate the value of global solidarity. And that when we plan on doing something, we can actually do it. And for me, that is really the most important thing. Now, when we reflect on what really our take-home is in this particular work that we have done, it is important that we continue to strengthen the full value chain, including through research. And this is really primarily a call for us who represent governments to say we need to continue to fight to make sure that there is availing of resources for research and development, the building of capacities, the laboratories, the students, and so forth, because ultimately, if we don't have those things, the sustainability that everybody spoke about here doesn't exist. I think there's another point that I think it was mentioned also by Martin, but also the DG of the World Health Organization mentioned, that this really becomes a platform that becomes a breeding ground of so many innovations that are going to solve and provide health solutions to the world. And I think we are beginning to see glimmers. When you see the whole world, and when I speak here as a host, as a beneficiary, and as a partner, and again as a person who probably have been standing in as a government representative in this program, it is really exciting when you see the people who are beneficiaries in all corners of this earth doing what they have been doing here on the screen, when you see them appreciating the value of this. And I think on reflection to Martin's retirement, even though I don't believe you're going to retire, but I think there are times when you look back at what you have done and you realize that you have been such a gift to humanity because of the impact of the things that you have driven. And I've learned a lot of things in life, and they say when people do things that they don't necessarily have to personally benefit from, that's when you realize how genuine and how much of a gift to humanity those people are. So what is really ahead in terms of what we need to do? It is very clear that we all appreciate that global health is a global public good. And I always say, sometimes when we talk about health and the economy and everything, we tend to think that the economy is there and health is somewhere there. And I always say to people, if you want to see how much health is the economy, just look at what the COVID pandemic did. Everything had to come to a standstill because of a health concern. So as a result of that, we cannot afford to take health for granted. Sustainability and scalability of manufacture, this is quite important. We cannot do things half-half. And that story that Martin mentioned, it always scares me, where there is such an investment and ultimately everything just breaks down and we close things down. And I don't wish this to happen to the efforts that we are seeing here. And I'm just excited that the people that are driving this are actually appreciative of what this is about. So let's really continue to think beyond this phase. Let's continue to think about what 2.0 is going to mean to this program. And I think it is for me that which we must focus on. How do we build on these successes? Some of the failures and the lessons that we have learned, Professor Pedro, we take them towards 2.0 and say, how do we shorten some of the time frames? How do we avoid some of the challenges that we have had? And I really I'm very excited about this program. I think it's a huge and real empowerment to us as low and middle income countries. And we are going to see, in my view, when the next pandemic hit, a much better prepared and also much well coordinated global solidarity actions as we move forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Moneni, for those remarks. And I have picked a line of wisdom from what you just said. The times when people do things that they personally don't end up benefiting from is actually a measure of how genuine and how true both the motives and the intentions are. And if you ask yourself, as an example, sorry to keep giving an example for you, Martin, for a person like Martin who is about to retire and yet has continuously, expended himself, people like Professor Petro, who continue to expend themselves, and many others in this room, if you ask yourself, what do they really stand to benefit from this program? I think if we are true to ourselves, we see that all this effort is going into trying to make a better world, a better place for millions and billions of people. Some we don't even know, some will never know, but yet we continue to do this. So thank you once again, and for everybody else. To maybe close, we've been talking for a while, so to close our session, I would like to invite Professor Bhavesh Khanna, who's the head of School of Pathology at WITS, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Thank you very much, Zakaria. Thank you, everybody, for coming tonight. As somebody who's not directly involved in the mRNA work, it's been a real treat for me. I think we've heard more than just presentations and policy commitments and expressions of gratitude. What I heard was the sound of barriers breaking, of dependencies dissolving, and a new chapter in pandemic preparedness being written in real time. And considering what we've been through, that's quite an astounding achievement for such a short period of time. What has been accomplished in the past few years is nothing short of astounding. So I work on tuberculosis. This organism divides once a day and does nothing else. So to see so much advancement in 2 years is truly astounding. And the returns, as we see, are not just going to be financial or political. They're going to be deeply human. People are going to benefit from what we're doing here. I think it's also important, every day we wake up to a world that looked different to the one yesterday. The geopolitical tensions of our time, whilst they make us uncomfortable, they remind us that work such as this is not just necessary, but it is incredibly urgent. The supply chain disruptions of recent years really makes regional manufacturing more important and more strategic. I remember during COVID having to drive my car to the airport and park it on the runway and actually wait for a plane to land so I could get tubes and tips so we could do the most basic and simple experiments. And I would just like to say to everybody here, I promise myself now, never again should we be caught so unaware. And so as we move forward, it's important to remember that pandemic preparedness is not about fear, because the words still strike fear, but it's rather about hope. And that hope is that the next generation will inherit a world where their addresses don't dictate what type of healthcare that they get. Their addresses don't determine their access to life-saving medicines. We will give them hope that innovation does not just serve profit margins, but serve human margins, serve those that have been left behind, those that have been systemically and consistently marginalized. Because the sad reality is that as technologies advance, so does the gap between the people who need those technologies and the access to those technologies. And I really want to applaud what has been achieved through this mRNA platform, which is taking the ability to produce the innovation in the environment where it's needed. But I would like to call on all colleagues here not to forget another aspect of science diplomacy, and that is connecting technology to the people who need it the most. We have life-saving technologies lying around the world everywhere where patients die in hospitals waiting for access to them. So in addition to supporting local and regional manufacturing, we mustn't forget that connecting people with technologies developed elsewhere is also a very important part of science and health diplomacy. But this mRNA technology transfer platform has shown us that when you combine political will and scientific excellence, when you marry global solidarity with local ownership and build bridges instead of walls, anything is possible. In fact, everything is possible. So to everyone who've made this evening possible, from the organizers to to the people at WITS who brought us together, to the WITS Origin Center for hosting us in this space where innovation meets inspiration. Please accept a hearty thank you. On behalf of WITS University, I'd like to thank all of you for making the journey to our wonderful campus. And to everyone present, thank you for proving that in an age of division, collaboration is not just possible, it's powerful. In an age of inequality, and we see this inequality every day, equity is not just an ideal, but it's something we can achieve in our lifetimes and bear witness to. And in an age of uncertainty, hope is not just a feeling, but it's rather a strategy. And for me, what was really encouraging is that the future of global health security was written tonight, at least one chapter in it, and we've all been part of that. And so that's been really gratifying. And often events like this give us the opportunity to reflect. And so as you journey back to your homes, and I hope you journey in safety, I want you to reflect on another sentiment. So for those of us in the sciences, it's important to remember that we find our value not only in the publication of patents and papers, but rather in the upliftment of society, in the healing of communities, and in the preservation of life. And to science policymakers, science diplomats, and other individuals who are involved in the global health and science solidarity space, it's important to recognize that we all find our true purpose in the convening of a global community that emulates these values. And really looking around in the audience today and listening to people, I think one fantastic achievement of this mRNA Technology Transfer Hub is in the convening of this global community. And it is something to really celebrate and something to preserve. Thank you.
Thank you for that very, very fitting vote of thanks. And I'm not saying anything else. I know people are hungry. I think I may be hungry too. So maybe at this point, just want to thank everybody once again for making the wonderful time to be here and for very, very hearty conversations and contributions. And we do look forward to your support to be part of this program as we see the evolution of the mRNA Tech Transfer Program 2.0. So we're going to have some music and some food. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Zachary.